Okay, coming back to the point. So, what clicked that when you decided to come to Pakistan, and what the people were saying?
Like we talked about, so somebody told me I could not do it, so I had to do it. That was my very first thought. If this is crazy, you shouldn't do that. Of course, I'm going to do it.
I think that is the point, that people are not experiencing things into the shared reality, that what the media is saying, this thing is happening and that thing is happening on the course, and obviously media is not fair into the just thing that is happening. It feels good because that is the thing, that many of my friends are coming from abroad, and many tourists are coming from abroad to see that, okay, what is the reality and what's been happening. So it is really a good effect that the world is open right now and we are looking at it, because in all essence, like people are realizing that Pakistan is not a bad place to live, as it has been projected.
No, it's a lovely place to live. I mean, the people are very welcoming. The weather for me anyway is lovely. Yeah, it's a little warm sometimes,
Yeah,
but you know what? I would take that over the cold from Canada.
Canada is cold.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah.
The summers are very lovely, but the winter, January, February can be very, very cold. Down to
Yeah.
minus 56, whatever it is. But one of the reasons that I was able to do that, because not everybody is able to just pick up and leave and go where they want,
Agree.
right?
I
I
agree.
mean, I'm coming from a very privileged place in order to be able to do that. Um, is the fact that I've traveled before, and so I have a more of a tolerance, more of an acceptance, more of a risk taking personality, because I want to experience more. I understand that experiencing other cultures broadens your horizons, and then you can have greater acceptance, greater empathy for other people, and you have a thirst for knowledge, right?
That is the exact same thing that I've been preaching all my life. So that's why I started like the Big Brother series, right? So I'm telling the younger generation over there that travel, save money, and invest in some good places, because on all the glam or the fame that they ever wanted, you'll get everything, but travel, that is most important, because you wouldn't have that kind of energy to do all the things that you wanted. Will come back, but you won't have that energy to do the things that you can do right now by traveling.
Well, and I don't even consider myself smart. So I would consider myself bright. And I see a very big difference there. So being smart is about learning from books, and flipping pages and memorization and having recall and that kind of thing. But being bright is about being creative. It's about finding opportunity. It's about exploration and the thirst for knowledge. So I would consider that more where I fall. The book learning and things like that. Sure, being a lawyer, you
Yeah.
do that, right? But it's not my forte. My forte is the experience, the learning, the drive to understand other cultures.
In the Pakistani culture, male or female, it's been predominant in our society that once you are of a certain age, you have to be responsible for your family. So, and many of the dream dies. I've seen the people around me, they were so bright people, and their dream just went into vain, and their dream died at that point. And that is the confusion that people have most of the time, right? To be a smart person or a bright person. And I always say, be a bright person, because we already have, smart people around us. And like, you were saying, like, you are not a smart person until I see your resume and, what kind of people that you have worked with. That was really impressive. When a person see your experienced resume, like, a person has to think, should I be, more friendlier, or should I be more alert on that part? Because, she is coming from the background of legislation. Because at this point, I realize that people who are coming from legislation or supervising armed forces are a lot more serious people. On the other hand, what I experience is like you are such an smooth going personality that you have, and you connect with people really on a very good basic level, that a person can talk to you.
Well, I didn't start out easygoing.
Yeah.
I can tell you that much.
I can understand. I can understand on that.
Yeah, I mean, I was very afraid when I was younger. I was one of the most shy people
Really?
you can possibly imagine. I couldn't even order a pizza
Wow.
without being too shy about it, right? In the public, right? At home, I was a holy terror.
Okay.
Because I had younger siblings, I was the oldest sibling, and so you're in
Mhm.
charge and you rule the roost, and you
Mhm.
make your parents' life a living nightmare. But when it came to socializing, I was very, very insecure. And so I didn't really break out of that shell
Mhm.
until I ended up going to law school.
Okay.
And the only reason I went to law school, it was just by chance, is because a boy I liked at the time
Okay.
wanted to be a lawyer,
Mhm.
and I wanted to be around him. He applied, he didn't get in, I did. Oops.
Yep.
That would happen. Like, no matter what happens, uh, God put you near the people who are going to be the gateway for the things that are happening, or he is about to take some great work from you, and that is going to be that kind of gateway that you would be luring on to these paths, and that would be shaping up your future.
And yeah, I mean, your future is filled with so many tiny little choices that you make every part of every day that creates that future for you that you don't realize at the time might be one of the single most important choices you've ever made and results in the person you are now. I mean, when I look back at my life and all of the things I've done, and there have been many, like you've said. So, I mean, after law school, I went into private practice, which I did for 8 years, and I went to different firms, very high profile litigation, including criminal, commercial, family.
Mm. Family is
It's horrid.
it's worse than the criminal one. I would say
Oh,
that.
much. And then going into, for instance, India, what we have in Canada, which is Indian residential school litigation. It doesn't exist anymore, but I was at the very start of that. And we spoke briefly earlier before we started talking more here, in that Canada has a history of colonization.
Okay.
Where British people came over and they colonized that country, and they suppressed the indigenous peoples who lived there. Rightly, it was their land, and put them into schools and tried to eradicate not only their culture but them. And so then we fast forward into where we are now in the country, and those people have decided that they have rights and that they shouldn't be suppressed. And so they sued the government of Canada.
Wow.
And so that was something that I was involved in as well for a number of years. And then, I was in environmental. I worked with all levels of government. As you mentioned previously, I have experience overseeing the police
Yeah.
and investigating.
Investigating.
Yes. And then working with environmental organizations, working with oil and gas, working with banking, creating a number of pieces of legislation, even writing the chief scientist legislation in one of the
Wow.
provinces that I was in. But even taking all of that, um, it's every tiny little choice that you make along the way that could have led you somewhere different, right?
True.
Each part of that is almost like you're living a different life, or you could have lived a different life. But all of those little experiences add up and they make you who you are. And for me, anyway, I wouldn't change that. It doesn't matter whether the experiences were horrendous or lovely. I wouldn't change a single thing because I like who I am now. And that's the point in life at which you want to get, right?
Yes.
Accepting oneself that you have become into that process is really much necessary. I would say that, like, at one point, you have to eye down yourself into that kind of mirror, and, you have to accept yourself and be happy with it.
Exactly. So whether you're the shyest person in the world, like I was,
Yeah.
the choices that you make, whether they're conscious or unconscious, or somebody makes them for you, like your parents spin the job wheel and they decide you're going to be an
Yeah,
engineer,
engineer.
doctor, or a lawyer.
Yeah.
Eventually you make your own choices every day. And those choices break you out of the shell that you're in, or they take you traveling and you experience new cultures. And it doesn't have to be another country. You can go to a different city in the country you're in,
Exactly.
because take Pakistan is filled with different cultures.
Coming on to the topic, tell me about your worst experience and your best experience on the job.
My worst experience. Well, so I have always worked in male dominated industries
Uh-huh.
and often been the only woman, especially at the executive table,
Yeah.
or been the first woman in that role. So one of the worst experiences I had was probably in litigation, where I went into with my boss, who was a man. I went into a big meeting, a very important meeting with very high profile stakeholders. We walked in and he said, literally, I am the brains, she's the blonde. So that would have been one
That's
of the
weird.
it's what's horrible. And it would have been one of the worst experiences. There were many, many, many more. But yeah, though that's just one of a number of experiences you have as a woman in a male dominated organization. So there are a lot of bad experiences.
That is the weird thing about the society that I don't understand, and that is very much relevant for me. That you are divided into two sections that are really much dominant. That is the male and the female one. But what I believe in is that you should give a person respect not according to their gender or something like that, but according to their competence, their character, their personality. And that has been the case in the Pakistani society as well. That it has been a male dominant society, and they are taking kind of stupid decisions as well.
I mean, you have strengths and weaknesses with every person. That some potentially are gender based, like physical strength,
Yeah.
but others, the rest are not, right? And so you need to support one another in teamwork in wherever you are, whether it's in work, whether it's at home, in a marriage. It doesn't matter, as long as you work together for the betterment of the organization, of society, of your friends, of your marriage, of your family.
That is so much true.
Then things will turn out much, much better than if you compete against one another and try and undercut one another. And that's not just limited to men and women. Women do it to other women.
Yeah.
Men do it to other
Other
men.
men.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's not kind of a black or white area. It's like the mixture of all the things, where we are divided in such kind of mentality. Either it's gender, either it's your identity, either it's your nationality, either it's your culture, either skin color, or either whatever that has been there, and people are being divided into that. Right now I think we are being brainwashed by, either you can say, media or some other sources.
Exactly. And that's, I'll come back to the, male, female kind of thing in a little bit, but brainwashed by media. So we talked earlier about the fact that if you travel, if you get out of your comfort zone, your horizons expand,
Exactly.
you become more empathetic, you become more tolerant, you become more accepting, and you learn. And all of that comes from knowledge. And I think the majority of people are incapable of getting out of that for whatever reason, whether it's financial, socioeconomic, whatever your circumstances are, they stay stuck. And so they're reliant on what they hear in the media. And obviously that's going to be very one-sided. Doesn't matter where you are in the world.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, you can try for a balanced perspective, but the perspective is perspective, and it's from the individual.
Yeah.
And so that will shape whatever you're hearing. And for the most part, in the West anyway, we hear a lot of things that are negative about other countries that don't have quote unquote democracy, for example, right? And so in order to break out of that cycle, you have to either search out sources to be reliable, and that's getting harder and harder.
Yeah, I know. It's getting harder and harder, because I remember that, like, when I used to research on the internet, every kind of resource would be available, and not many kind of things were eradicated from the internet. And I used to, write that down in my notebook. But right now, if I have to search back of those topics again, right, those things are not available on the internet. But I clearly remember that those references are not available. Neither those websites are. Coming on to the point, best experience.
I think my very best experience was probably one of the last experiences I had working. In other words, over the 2023, 24. And that was because I was in a position where I could hire exactly who I wanted to hire.
Best
And-
feeling, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I've done a lot of hiring and firing
Yep.
throughout my career, a lot of it. But this time I made a point and an effort to hire new immigrants.
Uh-huh.
And it's not a matter of selecting people that ensures the best qualified aren't accepted. They happen to be the best qualified as well. But you make an effort to include the resumes because oftentimes people who have immigrated don't hit the right keywords,
Yeah.
right? And they're weeded out by the AI or automatic selection process in your resumes. So I would go through every single one of the hundreds of resumes that you get for a job posting and pick out the people that I thought not only were worthy and had the skill sets, but also deserved the opportunity and would fit in and who really wanted to be there. They weren't just looking for their next job, they wanted to make a difference. And that ended up in hiring some of the best people I've ever worked with. So that was one of the best experiences I had, was creating that team of people with different backgrounds, diversity, who came together and made a real difference in that organization.
That is the thing that I realized, that working with the variety of people around the world, that no matter where you go, people are going to stay the same. Like Sigmund Freud said, that they would laugh on the same thing, they would have the same kind of problem, obviously of different categories, but they would have that kind of same sorrow, and they would get angry on the same thing. So people are same wherever you go.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Like, we are not talking to each other. We are not having a conversation. And if you are, let's just say, you are married to someone, right? People are living together, eating their food, and, they're just looking at their phone. They're not having a conversation by sitting on the same table. And that's why, like, my male friends, my male, I only have male friends in Pakistan. So,
Exactly.
yeah. So, when I talk to them and whenever I talk about logic, they're malfunctioning, because whenever I am asking about logic and I'm saying that, okay, let me, have a logical answer about it. And, they don't have it usually. And, they come on to the conclusion of that, okay, there is no point of talking to you. And I always tell them, guys, we have to come to a logical buffer point, that we can be tolerant enough to listen to the other person to come on to a conclusion. On that point, everyone has a best reply for everything, but not all of the people are able to listen to the other person's opinion. Okay, but just forget about it. Now look at the media, right? What are the things that has been sold out the best? When people are debating, or on the clickbait, people are fighting each other. These are the ones that people are more interested in. And they love to see the circus around. When you go back in time and you look at that, like in the old school media, when in 90s or 80s, or like but way before that, people used to have good debates. Like Oxford grade debates were used to be happening. Now Oxford grade debates are like any college kind of debate. But on that time as well, people were that much tolerant that they used to I would say, listen to the other person perspective. And they used to say, okay, you are right on that point, but there is a backed up point as well. And they used to give really logical reasoning why they are disagreeing with their point.
And it really does come down to perspective and experience.
Agreed.
And there is always common ground. And that's the thing that people don't remember, is that no matter who you are or where you're from, there is something that you share. And honestly, in my opinion, it is health. So
Oh, yeah.
physical and mental. There is always shared experience. Everyone has a story. And
Listen,
exactly, listen to one another and have empathy. And that will get you a long way.
I would consider that, empathy has been the rarest jewels of our society. Have you heard about empath theory?
No.
Okay. So the empath theory say that, or the empathy theory say that, when you are, way past that phase, when you needed someone, or you were in that pit of, your struggles, your bad time, when you come over that, and when you're way past that, and if the other person is there, and you are seeing that, so you wouldn't be you won't have that kind of empathy to that person. Why is that? They used to say that, take it like a man. And when a father was saying, to his son or daughter, Like, I have dealt with these kind of things. So why can't you? So these kind of things, we are dealing with in the empathy theory. And, on that empathy theory, that is the generational curse that we have to break. And, the chain has to be broken by any cost.
And it only takes a few people to break that, with those with the courage to break it. Because I grew up with that. I mean, I grew up with being told you should have been a boy. That's what I was told my whole life.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't just happen in one part of the world. It happens all over the world.
Yeah. I'm amazed. I'm amazed to listen to that, to be very
Oh, yeah,
honest.
absolutely. You should have been a boy. I mean, they thought it was a compliment. So, and you could tell, because you're strong enough and smart enough to have been a boy. Congratulations. But you take that, and then you make it something that's stronger. And I even grew up with, again, being in the legal field, being told, we worked 90 hours a week. You need to work 90 hours a week. We had no family. You will have no family. This is how you make it in the world. You go to the big firms, you make money, more money, work longer hours, burn the candle at both ends, and then you go home and you do it all over again. But you have to break that cycle.
I never understand, about one thing. Parents and their obsession with money. It doesn't matter. Like, if you're good with internet and marketing, that's all you got to do. And if you have some other kind of passion, do that. Like, if you want to do a podcast, do that. Because I think their obsession of money was coming from that kind of era that people were buying houses, buying, the own things from money. And, they were doing a lot of things. But let me ask you this. Can you buy a good house with a good patio in Canada without mortgage and, with your own money?
No, not at all.
Not at all, right?
Everyone has a mortgage.
Everyone has a mortgage, but still we are putting our generations into debt just because we want to show that we have a good life.
You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. Instead of that, travel, meet new people, build up your confidence all over the world. And, in that kind of circle, when you leave your life, people, if they remember you, they should say, okay, uh, you know, he or she was a nice person. And in all terms of matter, it should be like this.
Yeah, it's what you leave behind for other people. Even if it's a single action, you don't know how much you've changed that person's life.
You never know.
And I've heard, afterwards, you changed my life, or you did this. And I never would have thought that. And it didn't mean anything to me at the time because it was so easily and freely given.
Exactly.
Why not? I mean, everyone should do it. Even if it's just a smile or a kind word to somebody who's serving you a drink.
And, I would highly recommend you to read a book. It's called The Art of Giving, like my godfather gave me. So, like, I would really recommend you to read that because, it's saying exactly all the things that you're mentioning right now.
Lovely.
With the reference, I can tell you it's written over there. And when we come down to a point, it's about, a place to live, right? But all in all, it's about, making some people laugh, making some people smile. And you have to, put your efforts into it.
Oh, yes.
Being brave.
And that's my reputation at work, unfortunately. I'm the funny one.
Being funny is good. Like, people would say that why you are being so unnecessarily funny. It's like 12 people sitting in a gathering. You don't know, each one of them what kind of trouble or what kind of battle they're going through. So you have to be funny. If you have to be a clown for some time, for some time of the day for the people, be that because when they're gonna go home and the cluster of thoughts are there with them and they're laying down on their bed, at least they can laugh and they can say that, okay, I had my good time of the day.
And it's not even necessarily that you're being a clown. What you're doing is you're easing the atmosphere. You're relaxing people in the room. I mean, read the room. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, read the
Don't
room.
be funny when you shouldn't be funny.
Guys, you cannot be, funny in a funeral. Don't joke around in a funeral.
Exactly. Know the time and
Know the
place
timing.
and the people.
Yeah.
But one of the most important things you can do in every situation is be aware of each person and what makes them unique. And you can see that just by looking at them.
Agreed.
If you are aware enough of your surroundings and if you care enough to be aware, which is part of being empathetic, which is part of understanding your audience, which is part of perceiving what other people are doing, are wearing, are saying. And then you can know enough about how to relax them, about how to create that environment where people open up and share and just create a better world.
What I realize in, being the best version of yourself, that, it's the people around you. If they are not good, you cannot be a better version of yourself, because you're following that vicious cycle again and again, again and again. And let alone, like, if it's about drinking, if it's about drugs, or if it's about, something else, or let alone bad habits, you cannot be a better version of yourself.
And that goes, not just with your friend circle, it's with your partner circle, your romantic involvements.
Agreed.
The people fall into cycles and patterns.
Yeah.
Because not because they go seek out the worst possible people. That's not what they're doing, but they find comfort in things that they know. And if what they know is pain, that pain will be comfort
Yeah.
because they don't know any different, or they've been beaten down so much that they don't believe it can be any different. And it takes a very strong person to get themselves out of that situation or to even ask for help. And that's a big thing that society doesn't encourage, is asking for help.
Mainly, it comes down on the 90% of the part, that how you choose your partner. Because if a good man or a good woman is beside you or at your back, you can do amazing thing. I repeat, amazing thing in this world. That's the thing, that, again, you don't have to worry about your household. You just have to worry about the battles that are going to happen into the real world and into the real battlefield. So, it's really important to choose a good partner.
And someone has your back. You have a safe place. And safety, if you don't have safety, then you can't explore. You can't be you. You can't take a chance. And if you can't take a chance, then it's very hard to succeed.
What is the greatest chance that you have taken in anything?
I've taken a lot of chances in my life, so I've changed my career a lot of times. I would say one of the biggest chances I took was running for politics. That was a huge chance. It was a huge leap
Okay.
of faith, because why would anybody want to listen to anything I have to say? There's that inner person in you that just screams, what am I? What do I have to offer? Why would somebody care what I have to say? It doesn't matter how many credentials you have. There's always that little inner part that says, I am not worthy.
Exactly.
Right. And so running for election was huge. You see a problem. The reason that I ran is because you see how things could be done differently to help, and nobody seems to be doing it. And so you want to make a change. And so you run, and you meet so many different people from so many different walks of life.
Yep.
And I think when I ran for election, I knocked on 80,000 doors.
Wow.
And spoke with that many different people who had, just imagine how many different perspectives about issues, social, political, even cleaning the streets, whatever was important to them. And so that leap of faith, and that putting yourself out into the public like that, especially as a woman, again, in the Twitterverse, which is an echo chamber of hatred.
I agree.
And social media in general, was a huge chance, and something that I did, which was out of the ordinary for me.
So how was that kind of experience for you?
Amazing.
Amazing, right?
The good offset the bad, so yeah, you get the toxic behavior from everyone on the internet, but the people that you meet who support you and who believe in you for no good reason whatsoever that you can tell.
Yeah, because they are believing what you're trying to preach over there.
They are, and they're doing it because you share the same value system. You
Exactly.
share the same moral fortitude. When we're talking about finding people to surround yourself with who have the same morals, who are good people, and having those people come to you and give the best of themselves to help you succeed because you share a vision is just one of the most amazing things that you can possibly have happen. The fact that I lost didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
No.
That is the thing. Like, I point out to the women who are trying to go into the politics. It's like it doesn't matter if you win or lose. It's all about how many people that you have reached out and you affected them by your act of service.
Exactly. And they still call me to this day. I mean,
That's
they're
amazing
having
feeling.
another election coming up, and somebody reached out to me and said, "Look, can you talk to the candidate about what you experienced?" And neighbors and friends who supported me back then, they're still there, and I know that I could talk to them if I ever needed anything.
So, are you planning to run for elections one more time?
No, probably not.
Why?
Which is something that they ask, well, why aren't you running
Yeah,
again?
that's the thing.
Because I have other places to be. That part of my life, at this point anyway, isn't where I am and where I am planning on being. Who knows?
Oh, who knows?
Exactly. I mean, life is fluid. My journey has taken me so many different places that I never thought I would go. That election being one of them, and Pakistan being another.
Yeah.
That I don't know what will happen in the future, and you have to be open to those opportunities and possibilities.
Have you seen the movie The Night at the Museum? Uh, in that movie, uh, Ben Stiller and Robin Williams.
R.I.P. Robin Williams.
Yeah, right? Robin Williams, amazing guy. So in that movie, when Robin Williams' character asked Ben Stiller that, "What you gonna do tomorrow?" He said that like, "I'm just a guard. I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow." And he said that how an amazing thing to say and how exciting it is that you don't know what you're gonna do tomorrow. So and that's about it, about life. Like you don't know what's gonna happen, and one moment can turn around and change your whole life.
Exactly. Even this podcast.
Yeah.
Even meeting you. I mean, who knew?
Honor.
And my privilege.
And that is the basic essence of life, that you don't know what's going to happen next. Like you're coming from a different part of the world, I'm coming from a different part of the world, and that is the just beauty of life, right? It's spontaneous and it's random in itself, that you can meet a stranger. It can be your best friend, or you can meet a stranger that can be your worst enemy. uh Matter of those things, what kind of message that you want to provide to the young women out there about traveling, about safety, or anything that you want to give an advice on?
Okay, well, in particular for young women, do your research, be safe, but be bold.
Exactly.
Be bold, be brave, be authentic, and don't be afraid to take chances. You don't have to go big like I did moving from Canada to Pakistan. You can start small.
Yeah.
And you can build that confidence that you need in order to become more assertive, in order to be able to stand up for yourself, in order to be able to find those experiences that enrich your soul. So start small, whether it's expanding your group of people that joining the Islamabad Run Club, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a women's only section.
Yep.
And they have a mixed section. And it's an incredible, from what I've seen, group of people. One of the things I did when I was here was go for a night run in Parkview City.
Yeah.
And that was one of the best experiences I've had here, was just mingling with, men and women who were all there having a great time. So as a young woman, reach for the stars, because you can do anything you want if you set yourself up for success. Now, everybody comes from a different background and doesn't have the same opportunities. So look for ways to create opportunities that you can within your set of circumstances. And like you've already said, if you put good out into the world, good will come back.
True. So true.
Yeah. And so if you create opportunities for yourself and look for the positive things that you can do within the confines of what you have, even if that is very small, then those opportunities will come to you as well.
Like reaching out to people in our society is considered to be a weakness. Like let's just consider that if I wouldn't have reached out to you, we wouldn't be talking. So reaching out is necessary.
Always.
You know about Shah Rukh Khan, right? So First, I'm going to say it in Urdu, in my language, and then, I would translate it to you.
किसी को मुकम्मल जहां नहीं मिलता, कभी पूरी ज़मीन, कभी पूरा आसमान नहीं मिलता. It means, like, you cannot get the whole universe for yourself, or the whole earth, or, all the skies, but there is always something that is going to be left out. And you cannot get everything that you wish for. There's always going to be one end that is left out.
In life,
So important.
because you cannot make it through struggle and difficulty without seeing the brighter side of life. You just can't. And we talked kind of before, but I have been to places where I've had nothing. I've had no food. I've had no shelter. None of that. I've been beaten down, felt like I couldn't get out of bed in the morning. I've been there. So many people have been there. And if you don't have humor, and if you don't push through because you can see the brighter side of things, then it's going to make it so much more difficult for you to move forward. And you always need to move forward. You have to have hope.
Exactly.
You have to.
In Shawshank Redemption, he said, hope can be a vicious thing, can be a dangerous thing. And the other person, the antagonist replies, like, it can be the most beautiful one as well. My godfather always say this thing, that, three things are there that a person should have. Always be humble, always be kind, and always be polite. These are the three basic things a person should have in order to, do a bare minimum for a human. Like Louis Farrakhan said, no matter what you do, never lie or never laugh towards a person who's coming down in, their career ladder, or they're facing a bad time. Because you can be in place of that person. Maybe you have to go that route.
Be the one who's there to put the cushion so that
Yeah.
they don't hurt themselves when they fall.
Exactly, because most of the people destroy themselves.
Yeah, or they don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, mental health is one of the things that everyone shares, and everyone is along that spectrum of good, bad, middle, whatever you're feeling at the time. There's no such thing as normal. There's not a single person in this world who's a normal person.
No,
It
no
doesn't
one.
exist.
The definition of normal is very different for everyone. And there is a movie called, Sitare Zameen Pe. It's a Bollywood superstar. Amir Khan did it, right? So the teacher just point out to his bum, and he says that, "Sir, what do you think about this?" He said, like, "What? It's your bum." He said, "Exactly, sir. It's the definition of the normal. Everyone has their own." On that note, I wish, Gabby, we can make this one more time before you go from Pakistan, or wherever you are in the world. If you meet next time, we can do this one more time.
Absolutely would love it. Thank
It
you
was
so
an honor.
much.
It was an honor.